All right, let's jump right in. We're about to explore a really wild, counterintuitive idea that comes from a text that's centuries old. It's the story of a saint whose suffering actually got worse because of the comfort her friends were trying to give her. I know, that sounds completely backwards, right? But stick with me, because it opens up this fascinating window into what pain really is and what it can mean.
And this is the line at the very heart of it all. Human consolation weakens that which is divine. Now, what in the world could that mean? How is it possible that care, that attention from people who love you, could actually have a negative effect? This is the puzzle we're going to unpack today.
And here's where we get the story from. This is a testimony from way back in the 13th century about a mystic named Saint Gertrude. So, this isn't some modern self-help book or philosophical argument. This is a raw, first-hand account of an experience that just completely flipped the script on how we normally think about pain and comfort.
Okay, so let's get into the first part of her story. We'll call it the trial of pain, and it's all about that bizarre moment when comfort itself somehow becomes a curse.
So let's set the scene. Gertrude is in absolute agony. The text says she was hit with this severe pain in her side, and it was so bad, so intense, that the people taking care of her honestly thought she was about to die. So we're not talking about a minor ache here. This is life-threatening, pull out all the stops, suffering.
And this is where we hit that central mystery. I mean, think about it. When we're in pain, what do we want? We want people around us, right? Their care is supposed to be a relief. So why? Why for Gertrude did the exact opposite happen? Why did her friend's attention just make everything worse?
This really lays out the two forces pulling her in opposite directions. On one side, you've got human consolation. When her friends were there, the text says her suffering literally redoubled. It got twice as bad. But then, on the other side, in those moments when she felt a divine presence, that exact same pain was soothed. It was solaced. It's like a tug of war happening inside her.
And the text gives us the reason why. For Gertrude, her ultimate source of comfort, what she called her beloved or the true consoler, felt absent. It had withdrawn from her. So you can imagine when her friends would gather around to try and help, their very human comfort just acted like a giant painful spotlight on the divine comfort that she was missing. Their presence just amplified the absence.
And this is the turning point of the whole story. This is where her pain isn't just something to be endured anymore. It gets completely reframed into something totally different, a divine ornament.
So at this point, she's done. Completely worn out. She's at her breaking point, and she does what pretty much any of us would do. She just prays. She asks for the pain to be eased up, for any kind of relief from the agony. And what happens next is just, wow.
She has this vision, so let's walk through it. First, she sees the Lord raise his arm, and then he shows her the pain that she'd been enduring all day long. But it doesn't look like pain anymore. It's been transformed. It now looks like a precious ornament resting on his bosom. And this ornament made from her suffering, is described as being perfect and totally complete. And then she hears this incredible line. What you suffer after this will add brightness to this ornament. I mean, that is a complete game changer. Suddenly, her future pain isn't just this meaningless thing to get through. It now has a purpose. It's an act of creation, a way to add more beauty and brightness to this divine thing.
The text even gives us these amazing details so we can picture it. This ornament was covered in precious stones, and they were so brilliant that the gold mixed in actually looked dark and dull next to them. It's this powerful image that really drives home the new value of her pain. Every moment of it was going to make this incredible thing even more beautiful.
So, the vision happens. Her pain gets a whole new meaning, but the story isn't over, not by a long shot. Because the solution to our first problem actually creates a brand new and maybe even tougher kind of trial. And her first reaction is so perfectly human. She sees this gorgeous thing made from her own pain, and she's thrilled. She's thinking, okay, great, I learned the lesson, the pain can stop now. She's just hoping that this whole vision means her suffering is finally over. But that's not what happens. There's this crucial shift. Before she had the vision, her big trial was physical. It was the sheer, brutal intensity of the pain. But after the vision, her trial becomes spiritual. It's now the trial of feeling deprived of that divine connection, that consolation she now understands on a whole new level. And the text just puts it out there plain as day. After she saw what her suffering could become, the physical pain itself started to matter less than the feeling of being disconnected from that divine purpose. The absence of meaning became a heavier burden than the presence of pain.
So really, the big takeaway from this whole account is this. Her pain didn't just vanish into thin air. That's not what happened. Instead, its meaning changed so profoundly, it was elevated so high, it became this creative act, that the raw physical feeling of it just sort of became secondary. It wasn't the most important thing about it anymore.
And that kind of leaves us with a pretty big question to chew on, one that goes way beyond a 13th century monastery. What if the meaning we manage to find, or even create, inside our suffering is actually more powerful, more important, than just not suffering at all? It's a strange and profound idea from a saint who, for a time, suffered more from comfort.